Welcome, everyone, and welcome to Progressive Discussions. I'm your host, James P. Madonna, as seen on the web since 2007. It is now the end, believe it or not, the very end, the tail end of July 2023. And we are in the dog days of summer. And the dog days of summer are extra severe because of climate change, global warming. We're having a heat wave. Actually, the world, for the most part, is having a heat wave, a tropical heat wave, except for the desert regions of the planet. As you well know, the hottest temperature ever recorded in the history of recording temperatures was in, I believe it was the airport in Tehran, Iran. It was over 150 degrees Fahrenheit, dangerously high. Dangerously high. Not just uncomfortable, but dangerously high. Death Valley, California saw, well, they rounded it off to 130 degrees Fahrenheit, but it was really like 128, but it's a big deal. I know it's a dry heat, but not when it gets that hot. Then it becomes a pizza oven. And you can blame greedy capitalism, along with its inherent corruption for all of this, um, for the slow dying of our planet. And some of you might be wondering, well, James P. McDonough of Progressive Discussions used to discuss mostly politics. Well, that is true. Politics and anything important to the human species, the humanoids, the despicable creatures known as humanoids. That is true. But now I do an open topic talk. Anything that's important to you that's not ridiculous and silly, and you're not a troll, we can discuss. But I have been focusing at the beginning of this show, the serious segment of Progressive Discussions. I have been focusing on environmental climate change articles, much more than partisan politics. And the reason being is I feel that the health of Mother Earth and including all of its living creatures is more important than partisan politics. It's connected with our survival and the survival of all of God's creatures, specifically all of the endangered species, and may they rest in peace, the extinct species, all because of mankind's greed for money, materialism, capitalism. It's all connected to capitalism because they don't give a rat's ass about the environment, about the planet. All they care about is stuffing their pockets from the bribery that they accept from the fat cats. It could be big agri, it could be big pharma. We know it's big oil. And the massive campaign contributions taken by establishment two-party system politics. And when you take big money from the big corporations, you owe them big favors in return once you get elected. And like Jesse Ventura once said, a politician is not obligated to meet with lobbyists. You're really not. And he refused to. So anyway, let me go to, I don't have a lot of topics, but they're pretty important. And we could always talk about politics once Mick Von Raven comes aboard. My right-hand man, my good buddy, longtime buddy, and right-hand man on the internet, on social media, right-hand man, Mick Von Raven. But I try to start off with the lightest topics, even though I don't consider it as light. Okay. Let me get this article up. Bear with me, as I always say. Here we go. The world's rarest raptor hangs on thanks to an invasive species. Okay, here we have a very very endangered species, one of God's creatures. Um, the Mauritius kestrel, okay, benefits from a plant that's harming the island's ecosystem, complicating conservation efforts. But it was mankind that made this beautiful raptor, this beautiful small raptor, severely endangered. 50 years ago, only four, that's right, four Mauritius kestrels remained alive, making the bird the world's rarest raptor. After a labor-intensive recovery, the species numbers are falling again. Okay. Oh boy, look at the size of this font. I'll do my best. Uh, in 1974, the Mauritius kestrel, a photogenic bird with a special white breast and a vibrant red black red back, I'm sorry, with a vibrant red back and crown, came frighteningly close to extinction. Only four individuals remained. Thanks to decades of captive breeding on the Indian Ocean island of Mauritius, the kestrel population climbed to 1,000 birds. That's promising. Half a century later, as their numbers once again decline, another species is helping the charismatic raptors hang on. The traveler's tree, a palm-like plant in the genus um, uh, Ra- Ravana, Ravenala. Forgive me, the font is really small. But traveler's trees are invasive to Mauritius and are causing problems for other native species in the ecosystem. Conservationists are now faced with the challenge how to remove the plant without harming the kestrels. And then it goes into detail of what originally harmed the kestrels. It's a fine balance, says Vincent Florens, an ecologist at the University of Mauritius and the lead author of a new study that describes the beneficial relationship between travelers' trees and the birds. We might weed out Ravenala in a heavy-handed way and with very good intentions, actually cause more harm. The kestrel's first brush with extinction came after centuries of logging had stripped most of the island's evergreen forests, wiping out the large trees with cavities that the diminutive raptor needs for nesting. Introduced predators, including ship rats, those are stowaway rats from, from Europe, most likely, feral cats, and mongooses sped up the population's decline, as did the use of DDT, a chemical insecticide that weakened the birds' eggs and caused many young to die before hatching. Now, after 3 decades of relative stability, the species has fallen to as few as 350 birds. Wow, from 1,000, okay. Possibly due to inbreeding and ongoing habitat loss. No, thank you, humanoids. In their study, don't forget this font is very small. In their study, Florence and his colleagues observed that travelers' trees provide ideal habitat for the kestrel's main prey, the blue-tailed day gecko. Ah, they're so pretty, those lizards. Eh. And the Mauritius upland forest day gecko. Well, I guess that keeps the day gecko population down. The vibrantly colored, cold-blooded lizards bask on the plant's stiff leaves, which grow in spectacular vertical fans and dominant male geckos defend territories from the tops of the stems, just as they once did on native hurricane palms, which are now extremely rare in the wild. Ravenala, nectar, and fruit also attract insects that the geckos eat. Geckos are now thriving if you and I were geckos. The Ravenala would be the closest we could find to a palm in those forests today. It says Florence. There's a photo. Now this is a young day gecko. Day geckos are day geckos because they're not nocturnal. They're diurnal. And they, just like many geckos, they eat nectar from flowers. They eat rotten fruit, as well as insects, like the geckos of New Caledonia Island, the crested geckos, gargoyle geckos, and such. Traveler's tree negatively impacts thousands of species on Mauritius, but the invasive tree provides excellent habitat for the geckos, the Mauritius kestrel's primary prey. Okay, and kestrels are chowing down. Florence and his team found that geckos made up 70% of the bird's diet at 28 nesting sites in southeast Mauritius. Well, the kestrels don't have to go far to hunt these lizards, you know. The lizards are rich in the calcium needed to strengthen kestrel eggs. Okay, so far so good. And birds with nests surrounded by travelers' trees produce more fledglings. However, Florence cautions that the invasive tree also has immense costs for local biodiversity. Travelers' trees native to Madagascar, which is 100 kilometers, about 700 miles to the west of Mauritius, were first introduced to Mauritius in 1751. The plant seeds, sheathed in bright blue papery coats, caught the eye of fruit-eating bats and birds that spread travelers' trees across the island, along with other invasive plants, including strawberry guava trees from Brazil. Guava is very nutritious tropical fruit. I'm sure the geckos would love that. Travelers' trees crowd the forest understory, pushing out native plant species and the beetles, butterflies, and other insects that have evolved to feed on them. In turn, this means less food for small insectivorous bats and birds like flycatchers, bulbuls, and white eyes, whatever they are. Florence estimate that the species negatively impacts thousands of different species on Mauritius. Well, this is all influenced by man. Scientists may need to intervene without knowing the outcome. You know, this is just one little story of how mankind and their careless interference has affected the thriving and existence of a species on Earth. Let's see. Okay, before we go on to the environment and climate change, let us do a little Donald Trump. All right, CNN politics. Do a little Donald Trumpy, Trumpenstein monster. Sure taken a long time to get him in that orange jumpsuit that will match his hair and skin. Okay. All right. Takeaways from the new charges against, let me try to get this crap. Takeaways from the new charges against Trump aide and Mar-a-Lago worker in classified documents case. There's the smug look on the Trumpenstein monster's face. Okay. I would play the video, but for some strange reason, the streaming microphone doesn't pick up videos from other websites. I should ask tech support if they know anything about why this happens. Special counsel Jack Smith expanded his classified documents case against former President Donald Trump, making significant new allegations that Trump and his employees attempted to delete Mar-a-Lago security footage sought by the grand jury investigating the mishandling of the government records. The new charges were presented in what's known as a superseding indictment that was handed up by a grand jury in Florida on Thursday. A third defendant, Mar-a-Lago employee Carlos de Oliveira, was also added to the case. He is accused alongside Trump and Walt Nauta of obstructing the investigation with the alleged bid to delete security footage at Trump's Florida resort. Well, he was doing what he was told by Trump, and Trump got him involved, just like the January 6th traitors, insurrectionists. Just got sucked into the devious narcissistic world of Donald Trump. Trump also faces a new charge stemming from the allegedly mishandled classified documents that are not the core of the case, with prosecutors identifying a new document reported by CNN to be possible Iran attack plans that they say Trump unlawfully retained. Trump and Nauta pleaded not guilty to the initial round of charges Smith brought in the case last month. He always pleads not guilty. The filing of the new charges illustrates the depth and breadth of legal jeopardy that Trump finds himself. A potential indictment against Trump in Smith's election subversion probe continues to loom against the former president, and possible charges are expected in weeks to come in the Fulton County, Georgia investigation into Trump and his allies post-election conduct as well. Here's what to know about the new charges in the classified documents case. Trump requested deletion of security footage. The indictment accuses Trump of being part of the effort to delete security footage from Mar-a-Lago after it was subpoenaed, saying that Trump requested that a resort employee delete footage in order to quote, to prevent the footage from being provided to a federal grand jury, unquote. The newest defendant in the case places the former president in the middle of the attempts to delete the security footage, according to the indictment. The De Oliveira told another Trump employee who was director of IT at Mar-a-Lago that the boss wanted the server deleted, according to the indictment. This happened in June 2022 after prosecutors had subpoenaed for the security footage when the unnamed Trump employee, identified as employee 4, responded that he would not know how to do that and did not believe he would have the rights to do that. De Oliveira pressed him further, again referencing the boss, prosecutors said. So if the boss told you to jump off the Golden Gate Bridge, does that mean you have to do it? De Oliveira then insisted to Trump employee 4 that the boss wanted the server deleted and asked, "What are we going to do?" The indictment alleges. According to the indictment, De Oliveira asked the IT employee how long the server retained security footage. He was told it was approximately 45 days. De Oliveira also said that the conversation should remain between the two of them, according to the indictment. De Oliveira also spoke by phone twice with Trump after Trump's lawyers were notified of plans to subpoena the security footage. Trump and Norda had already been charged with obstruction over the moving of boxes, but now the latest charges add a new dimension to the obstruction case that goes beyond hiding the documents themselves. Trump alleged mishandling of an Iran attack plan adds to the charges. The new indictment brings the number of counts Trump faces for retaining national defense information up to 32, with prosecutors adding a new count to 31 they previously brought for a classified document described by prosecutors as a top secret presentation concerning military activity in a foreign country. Trump allegedly touted the document, which CNN previously reported related to Iran attack plans, in a taped July 2021 interview with biographers at his Bedminster, New Jersey golf club. I think that's where the late Ivana Trump is buried. The new changes, I wonder if her grave is one of the 18 holes on the golf course. Just a little levity, folks. The new changes and details in the superseding indictment contradict Trump's past denials about the document in question. Trump had previously denied that the document he discussed in the audio tapes was a government document, describing it instead as a news clipping. Okay, now I could play the audio, but I really don't know if it's going to be heard, but I could. Anyway, it goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. Who? Let's see. Listen to audio exclusively obtained by CNN of a July 2021 conversation during which former President Donald Trump acknowledges he held on to a classified Pentagon document about a potential attack on Iran. And then he goes on to say, there was no document, Trump told Fox News last month. That was a massive amount of papers and everything else talking about Iran and other things. Other things, well, like your buddy My Pillow, and it may have been held up or may not. But that was not a document. I didn't have a document per se. There was nothing to declassify. These were newspaper stories, magazine stories, and articles, Trump said in an interview. Let's see if the microphone picks it up.
These are bad, sick people.
That was your coup, against you.
Well, it started right at the
like
beginning.
when Millie's talking about, oh, you were going to try to do a coup. No, they were trying to do that before you even were sworn in.
That's right.
Trying to overthrow your election.
Well, with Millie, let me see that. I'll show you an example. He said that I wanted to attack Iran.
It's not being picked up. Oh well. So he's going to keep denying until they absolutely prove all 32 charges without a shadow of a doubt. And, they're taking their sweet time. Taking their sweet ass time. Let's go on to climate change. We'll start off with Miami Beach. Which is not good because no one likes to go from a hot, humid heat wave into the ocean to try to cool off and find themselves jumping into a bathtub. No one likes that. Oops, I'm sorry. Where was I? No one likes that. Okay. Let me go on to this. No one likes that. Again, I apologize for the microscopic font. I don't know why they do this. On Monday, hold on for a second. I need to get a drink of my special antioxidant-rich medicinal iced tea that I make myself with lemon, squeezed lemon wedges. In my 100% Moscow Mule copper mug. I had Moscow Mules for the first time this past month. They're not bad. I wouldn't do handstands over them, but they're not bad. On Monday, as much of the country stewed in bubbling heat, a boiling milestone was hit. A buoy in Florida registered a jaw-dropping 101 degrees Fahrenheit water temperature. This was on the heels of the same buoy in Manatee Bay registering 100.2 degrees on Sunday. For perspective, the average hot tub temperature is 100 to 102 degrees Fahrenheit. What did I say before? Okay, they're referring, I believe, to last Sunday and Monday. While the readings would have been considered a possible um, outlier, or sensor error surrounding buoys recording similar high temperatures, with 99.3 at Murray Key and 98.4 at Fat Johnson Key. I wonder if Fat Johnson ever lost the weight. Another reason why these water temperature readings are being taken seriously is the fact that experts have been tracking the exceptionally warm water temperature readings that have ranged from 92 to 97 degrees since early July. Don't forget, we may have a very severe hurricane season coming up soon. Very severe. For the majority of the month, an unusual weather pattern for the summer months for the region has been the driving factor. That pattern has featured a stagnant setup fueled by a strong area of high pressure that has led to days of above average and, in many cases, record-setting air temperatures. Okay, and it's killing, by the way, it's killing coral on the much protected coral reefs, bleaching the coral. Okay, that's what this video is about, but the audio won't be picked up, and I have no idea why it does that with streaming software, streaming companies. The pattern has also led to weaker than average trade winds. That's another problem. Trade winds usually produce southeast winds. Okay. Oh, that's head right into the area where hurricanes develop. Maybe that's the cool air that meets with the hot air over the Sahara Desert in Africa, and the two colliding extremes cause the cyclones. That's how hurricanes and all storms are formed. Cold front meeting a warm front. In this case, a hot front. Okay. Trade winds usually produce southeast winds and a sea breeze for South Florida, which helps to keep the sea surface temperatures in check. Instead, winds have been out of the west and weak, allowing sea surface temperatures to heat up. Don't forget, we're in an El Nino. Okay, but for some reason, the Atlantic Ocean temperatures are abnormally warm, which is not supposed to happen. It only happens normally in the Pacific Ocean. Still, despite a month of record-setting water temperatures already in the history books, Sunday and Monday's 100-degree water temperature reading stunned experts. Factors that could have played a role in spiking the water temperature above 100 degrees. Air temperatures in the mid to upper 90s. Number two, weak winds across the region of less than 10 miles an hour. Strong sunlight hitting shallow water, which heats up faster than deep water. Yeah, no kidding. Silty water leading to darker color, causing more absorption of sunlight and additional heating. Think of clear water versus murky water as being similar to cement versus asphalt. The darker the color, the more absorption and hotter the temperatures. This is why I always tell women, instead of wearing a hat, get yourself a small portable light colored umbrella for the sun. Light colors. if you don't have room darkener drapes to keep your home dark and help keep it cooler, get old white linen sheets and put them over the windows, just like people in the Middle East. Men in the Middle East wear, the white coverings, the light colored coverings on their head. Okay. Yes, the dark colors absorb the sun's radiation, whereas lighter colors reflect it. That is very true. The water temperatures, I'm sorry, I digressed a little. The water temperatures recorded Sunday and Monday were challenged the record for hottest sea surface temperature in the world, while official world water temperature records aren't kept. A 99.7 degree temperature recorded in Kuwait Bay is considered the world record at this time. Not anymore. Iran beat it by I'm sorry, the water temperature was 97.7 degrees. My mistake. Water temperature, not air temperature. Iran set the record for that. Due to factors like proximity to land and the silty nature of the water, the temperatures recorded off Florida would have to go through an extensive verification process. Verification process? I think jumping from the frying pan into the furnace is enough proof for me. Okay, let's go on to the next environmental. Okay, this has to do with the coral bleaching. The coral reefs. It's such a delicate ecosystem, and so many sea creatures are dependent on the coral reefs. Before I go on to the second to the last topic, let me say hello to the one and only Western Mike. Howdy, Western Mike in San Francisco, California. Vermont homes in trouble from flooding. That's true. El Nino since before summer. This weather no good. Yeah, it's scary. It's dangerous. Even this morning, slightly breezy at 9. The high temperatures have not let up come nightfall over here. Like I've seen close to midnight of with 80-degree temperatures at night. That's unheard of, And thank you for stopping by, Western Mike. Good to hear from you again. All right, let me go on to the next subject here. Okay. Gotcha. Florida ocean temperatures surged to 100 degrees as mass coral bleaching event is found in some reefs. Very bad. Because I used to go snorkeling a lot. Anytime I visited the Florida Keys when my aunt and uncle were alive, they had a condominium on the water, and I used to go snorkeling down there off Key West and Sombrero Beach, as well as anytime I went to the Caribbean on vacation, and it was just an extreme pleasure to see the beautiful tropical marine creatures frolic about. See how these scientists are trying to save coral reefs. An urgent rescue operation is underway to save Florida coral species from extinction as a mass bleaching event and die-off from unprecedented water temperatures spreads across reefs in the Florida Keys. Multiple reefs around the Florida Keys are now completely bleached or dead in a grim escalation that took place in as little as 2 weeks. Coral say. Experts now say they expect complete mortality of the bleached reefs in just a week and worry that reefs at greater depths could face the same fate if the unprecedented ocean warmth continues to escalate. Extreme heat and a lack of rain and wind pushed water temperatures around Florida to some of the highest levels ever observed anywhere. Okay, and like the previous article, a buoy in the Florida Bay hit 101.1 degrees Fahrenheit at a depth of 5 feet Monday, which is shallow. In an in an area where coral is scant. Many other stations in the area topped 96 degrees Fahrenheit, including one that hit 99 degrees, according to the National Data Buoy Center. And here is, oh wow, they mentioned the reef I used to go snorkeling at. Hold on. Okay. Here we have a map of South Florida. Here's Manatee Bay. Okay. 101.1 degrees Fahrenheit. Bob Allen, which I guess is the name of a key, 96.6 degrees Fahrenheit. Murray Key, which is here almost on the Gulf of Mexico, almost, 99.3 degrees Fahrenheit. Here's Marathon. Okay, this is Miami all the way up here. Then we have Homestead, the last city or town on the mainland Florida. Here's Marathon Key, where my aunt and uncle lived. So you could see the beautiful experience I had there between fishing and snorkeling. And then here's Key West, the end of the Florida Keys. All right. The most significant concentration of coral isn't located in the shallower Florida Bay where the readings were taken, but that matters little for coral around the Florida Keys, baking in water temperatures topping 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Coral is extremely sensitive to temperature changes. Yeah, as all aquatic life is. Temperatures that are too hot for too long cause coral to bleach and turn white as they expel their algae food source and slowly starve to death. The water is typically in mid-80s in the region, experts say. Mid-80s. Temperatures at a reef managed by the Florida Aquarium were 91 degrees on July 6th. The coral was completely healthy then. But when aquarium teams returned on July 19th, all of the coral was bleached and an estimated 80% of it was dead. Another report from the Coral Restoration Foundation found 100% coral mortality at Sombrero Reef off the coast of Marathon in the Florida Keys. That's where my aunt and uncle lived. God rest their souls. That's where I used to go on vacation. And that's where I snorkeled. One of the two places I snorkeled. I prefer the reef off of Key West. That was my favorite reef that I ever snorkeled, ever. This is akin to all of the trees in the rainforest dying. The direct Kerry O'Neill, the director and senior scientist at the Florida Aquarium, told CNN, "Where do all of the other animals that rely on the rainforest go to live?" Yeah, where do they go? This is the underwater version of the trees in the rainforest disappearing. Corals serve that same fundamental role. Yeah, the food chain. I found that the entire reef was bleached out. It's horrible. Here's an example of coral bleaching and death. Okay, coral bleaching as seen at Chica Rocks off Isla Morada in the Florida Keys. Isla Morada is the only place in the Florida Keys that has an active resort called Holiday Isle. Isla Morada is very nice. Terrible what's going on. And now we come to the last serious topic, which has to do with ocean temperatures. It's all interconnected. Ocean temperatures are off the charts. Here's where they're highest. Yikes. All right, let me make sure the map is up. Okay. This map came from the Washington Post, which has a slogan underneath that says, "Democracy dies in darkness." It sure does. I guess darkness would be the lack of information. People not knowing. Not knowing. Sea surface temperature anomaly. And it goes from normal to warmer, as you can see by the colors, going from blue slowly into yellow, orange, red, dark red. Okay. And just look at the oceans, and you can see that that the blue parts are like in the South Seas going towards Antarctica, but that's about it, really. I mean, well, some parts of the Pacific seem to be doing all right. Here where Hawaii is, you can see some blue over here. But up here, going from Asia straight across, North Pacific, yeah, that would be the El Nino. See, this is the El Nino. But look at the Atlantic Ocean. The Atlantic Ocean during a normal El Nino is not supposed to have very warm temperatures. Close to being hot. And if you're talking about South Florida, the Earth's oceans have never been warmer. Every day since late March, the world's average sea surface temperature has been well above the previous highest mark for that day. And there will be ripple effects. Marine heat waves are affecting about 44% of the global ocean, whereas only 10% is typical. And they can have significant impacts on marine life as well as coastal communities and economies, according to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Want to know how your... Okay, forget it. Average daily ocean surface temperature since 1981. As you can see how it climbed. Okay. since 1981. Look how much it climbed. Here's where we are now, 2023, all the way up here. The sea surface temperatures shown include data from 60s in the south. Wait a minute. Try to figure this out. From 60s south to 60s north across all longitudes. Okay, longitudes. That's the going north to south. Okay. Sea surface temperature. Over here is 0 Celsius. To the far left, 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, quite refreshing. That's the point of freezing, by the way. Then we got in the middle, as the color changes, 16 degrees Celsius is 60.8 degrees Fahrenheit. And on the far right, we have 33 degrees Celsius, quite hot, 91.4 degrees Fahrenheit. That's pretty much the heat wave we've been having here in northeastern New Jersey and New York area. Okay, and the colors. The darkest blue would be close to the freezing point. To be expected, the Arctic Circle, right? And then 60 degrees, around 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Then we have the lighter blue, which is the far North Atlantic by Iceland, Northern Europe, Scandinavia, Greenland. I mean, not Greenland. Yeah, Iceland, Scandinavia, Northern Europe. Then we have over here to the left, southern part of Alaska and the Pacific Northwest in Canada, lighter blue. And here, as the green gets darker, the temperature goes way up. Gets darker, temperature goes way up, and the hottest would be the light yellow. That's the colors they use in this graph. So the light yellow would be the hottest temperatures, ocean temperatures, and the green would be very warm, but not the problem. And then over here you can see all the light yellow. Baffled scientists are unsure what exactly has caused the rapid spike in, they're not sure, rapid spike in ocean temperatures first detected in March. They believe it could be some combination of numerous factors. Well, that's very true, and they're all caused by mankind, humankind. The massive heat dome that have July on track to be the planet's hottest month on record. And could make this the hottest year on record. Reduced air pollution from ships, weaker winds carrying less Sahara dust over the Atlantic Ocean, and the influence of human-caused climate change and El Nino, which itself is an abnormal warming of the waters in the tropical Pacific Ocean that alters weather patterns worldwide. Yeah, but now you have equally warm temperatures in the Atlantic. There's the problem. The exceptionally warm oceans are making heat waves worse, disrupting marine life and destroying coral reefs. They are also intensifying fires and flooding by increasing land temperatures and could make hurricanes stronger. You hear that? Here we take you on a tour of the worst of the ocean's hotspots. It's exactly what I said. That's why, the heat and drought has caused a Dante's Inferno in California with the forest fires, and the Canadian forest fires in Quebec and Ontario, I believe, which was responsible for the very hazardous air quality smog that here in the Northeast has been affected by. And it's not over yet. In the North Atlantic, levels beyond even extreme predictions. Sea surface temperature anomaly. Okay. The blue is cooler, normal is white, and as you get into the color orange and red. And here we got, this is the Atlantic Ocean. Here on the left, we have the United States, Boston. Here, you know, the white part. And then here's the Atlantic. Now look at this part of the Atlantic, the North Atlantic, by Newfoundland, by the Newfoundland up to Greenland, by the maritime provinces. Look how hot this water temperature is. And then as you go south and east of the Atlantic, it gets cooler. This is fucked up. Right here in the North Atlantic between Greenland and the maritime provinces. This is very abnormal. The North Atlantic has baked in record daily warmth every day since early March, with the average sea surface temperature in this region now approaching 77 degrees Fahrenheit. That's pretty hot for that part of the world. As hot as it's ever been, and more than 2.5 degrees above average. The North Atlantic has warmed almost beyond the most extreme predictions of climate models. Well, that wraps it up for the serious first part of progressive discussions. Really sad situation what's going on here. And I will now send forth the link for my panelists, starting with co-host Mick Von Raven. Western Mike says, 80 degrees at midnight when wind chill factor at noon. Yeah, yeah. I'm telling you, it's all caused by the greed and corruption of mankind with capitalism. Excuse me. You like my my Moscow Mule 100% pure copper hammered mug? It turns even plain drinking water into a supercharged health drink. It does something to the molecules of plain water, which turns it into a super health drink. And it also retains the cold temperature for cold beverages too. I guess that's why they use it for the Moscow Mule, which is ginger beer and vodka. Okay, let me hold on. Let me send forth the link. Bear with me. I always say bear with me. What else am I going to say? Nothing? Come on, what's with this freaking... Are you kidding me? My phone's acting a bit wacky here. Oh, here we go. Come on. Give me a fucking break. Ugh. Um, Still here. Anything run by Mark Zuckerberg is loaded with glitches. There isn't a day that goes by where you just don't have glitches. Hmm. Um, I'm almost done. Okay. While I wait for my panelist, let's see. Now it is time for Red Pill Man Cave, the second half of the show. The second half of the show, where the, um, it becomes an open topic talk. Whatever's important to anyone out there that wishes to partake in the live stream show, you can bring it up. You can discuss anything that's important, as long as it's constructive and not absurd and ridiculous. You know, well, it it's it could be absurd to another person and not be absurd to you. See, that's the whole thing. So you do have a right to at least bring up the topic without being harassed, ridiculed, or attacked. You do have that right, you know. But it could be any topic that's important to you. Okay, first, good morning, my dear Masumi from Japan. Masumi from the suburbs of Tokyo, Japan. Good morning, and I believe it is 5:10 a.m. Monday in the land of the rising sun. So good morning to you, Masumi, and thank you for stopping by. Okay, now I'm just sitting tight, relaxing, waiting for the panel. You're very welcome, Masumi. Very welcome indeed. I just want to thank um, performing artist and clothing designer Paul Anthony Mantia for doing the live stream with me last night. It was our third show, I believe. It was our third show called Northern Lights Tie-Dye TV. And it's a show that is pretty much just about music and fashion design. And very unique. The music was great as always, performed by musician songwriter Paul Anthony Mantia, celebrity performing artist, Paul Anthony Mantia. Now what? I think it's a scammer. I'm being bombarded by scam. See, this is happening to me every day, all day long. Scam, and it's coming from Facebook, I found out. He's stealing our personal data. This is what he's doing. Let me just report this. Yeah, this I found out it's coming from Facebook. And this has to do with Zuckerberg stealing our personal data without our consent and selling it. So what the scammers are doing now is they're using names and phone numbers of people that we know personally to try to get us to pick up the phone. See how sneaky they are? Quite sneaky. Terrible. Why can't they just make an honest living, you know? I guess making an honest living is not profitable enough for all the crooks. Let's see if I got any. Oh, I know what I'll do. Hold on. I know what I'll do. A little surprise. A little surprise here. Little surprise. Oh. Okay. While I'm waiting for Mick Von Raven and the other panelists, it's just, you know, it's just a good time to meditate and relax. And if anybody out there who does not want to be seen on video, that has something to contribute to the show, I mean, you could type any information, any question you have, any comment you have, you could type it, and I'll just put it right across the bottom of the screen and acknowledge what you're saying. Acknowledge what you're saying. Okay, let's see. Hello? Oh, I don't know. I'm assuming I don't, your video camera and your microphone is not working. You see below that little symbol, the rotary symbol? You have to click that to activate your microphone and camera. It's like a little icon, a wheel, look like a wheel on the right side. You have to click, that's the settings. You have to click that, and then you click audio and video to make sure that your audio and video are working. This happened the last time to her. Huh. Strange. One moment, please. I wonder if Mick Von Raven is on the porcelain throne. You have to try to go below the video and click on the little rotary wheel. It's a little symbol of a wheel. That's called settings. Then you go to audio and video to make sure that you select audio and video. Okay. What we got here? Yeah, I don't know what's going on with. I don't know what's going on with her audio and video because she never had problems before. There was never any problem before. All of a sudden. Okay, so mm, oh boy, oh boy. Oh, Western Mike has something to say. Went out Friday. Went to the coffee shop today. Otherwise, been home since then. Already in week mode again. Your weather sounds weird. Damn right it's weird. You're welcome to come aboard, Mike. As always. Yeah, what happened? You see this? Tell me if you see this. You see this symbol? Like, you know, you go click and then you click audio and video, and to make sure the camera is open and the audio is open. Yeah, I don't know what's happening. Um, anyway, good morning. Good morning to you. I'm sorry that it's not working. Um, nah. It's all right. You try. You try. Yeah, you tried. Um, yeah, I'm waiting for. Try to click on that symbol that I showed you. You know, look like a wheel. Look like a wheel. Yeah, that's called settings. Yeah, but anyway, yeah. Try one more time, and then if not, I talk to you later. Good morning. Well, what are you gonna do? Mm. Ugh. Well, usually I have my panelists. Oh, here he is, Mick Von Raven.
Hello, it's me. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Can you
Hello.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, hold on. I want to get my Bluetooth turned on. Hold, please. Bluetooth, where are you when I need you?
You could put your screen on. You can go full screen if you want.
Hold, please. Please be holding. I don't know how to do that. I'm not a whiz. How do I do full screen?
Yeah. On the bottom, look for on the bottom of your screen. Look for any symbol
Yes, I
that
got it.
it might have arrows going in different directions. It might it
See.
might it might it might have an outline of a box.
It doesn't say go full screen, whatever I clicked on.
No, it won't say go full screen. It'll be like an icon. It'll be
Yeah.
like
And that says something about mirror camera and then visual background.
yeah, mirror camera is like if you're showing a bottle of beer and you want everybody to be able to read it, you have to take the mirrored off.
Gotcha.
But the full screen is usually a just a plain old box, or it's like arrows going like north, south, east, west, like in different directions.
All right,
That
I'm looking
yeah,
around, giving it a go, sir. Oh, that didn't work.
No, it didn't work. No, it did. I saw you.
But I turned
You
it
went,
off and on. I didn't adjust anything. Gosh darn
well,
it.
there's nothing to adjust. You hit it and you go and you'll be like mine. You see, like
Yes, sir. Yes,
the whole
sir.
box will be you.
I don't know why this is not cooperating with me.
Because fucking Steve Jobs is fault.
He's haunting me from the grave.
Yeah. Try to. I saw it. It was going. It went like this, bloop, and then went away.
Yeah, it's when I. What if I leave and come back? How about if I try that real quick?
All right, try that.
That fun of all that stuff.
Try it. That's the good thing about stuff like that. You know, you can always leave and come back. Sometimes disengaging what you're doing and returning something that simple is the solution in the world of computers and cyberspace. Yeah, that's the issue that Paul Anthony Mantia had last night. He learned how to go full screen instead of that narrow shit. Okay. No video feed? No, now what?
Um,
Oh, there you go. I hear you.
my damn screen doesn't want to get as large. I have screen envy. I wonder how. I
You
wonder why.
screen envy.
I've got screen
Yeah.
envy. Um,
Well,
so
and you don't see the icon like at the
see
bottom.
the phone, the camera, then an asterisk.
Oh, asterisks are nice. That's settings.
It says video, the front camera standard definition.
You got a high def?
What- then size does matter. I know that. So I've gone high def so you can see all my
Screen
blackheads if you'd like, or something like that.
screen envy. No, as far as far as far as far as going full screen, that's like that should be the first icon you see
It's
at the
kind of
bottom.
stupid. I'm sorry. Let's see.
Beep, 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 beep.
Reading list. Box within a box. I'm just gonna wing it, I guess. How long have you been?
That's good.
Since 3?
Yeah, since 3. I did the articles.
Excellent.
There was one about Trump. He has 32 charges against him now,
And
and
did you see where
and he
he needs to cop a deal or he's gonna die in prison?
and
You
he
know,
denies every single one of the
he's
charges. And
77, isn't he?
now he's up there.
Yeah, enough to if you get a 10-year prison term, you're a dead man.
He denies. He says he didn't have any documents, only newspaper articles.
Yeah, well, actual
Newspaper
conflict his
newspaper
version.
clippings. And the 32, the charge number 32 was that he had classified military information about Iran's threats to attack the United States in different ways.
Yes.
Yeah, that was number 32. So
He's going to go down in a flaming heap. He's in real trouble. Because he likes to confess what he did, too. He's that stupid. Likes to talk about it publicly. So, bye-bye,
well,
the Don.
I mean, the fact that he pleads innocent when all the
The
evidence points at that alone
arrogance.
is very stupid and very arrogant.
Yes, sir. He thinks the
And
presidency is going to protect him, but sorry, it's not going to work. His master
well,
plan of
he exploited and used the presidency for his own selfish personal
yeah,
agendas.
you know, you're not supposed to have businesses when you're in the White House. He had all his businesses still running. He really, yeah, he's a charlatan. He's a just
and
a
he used abuse of authority, of course.
uses
He
political
used
platform. Oh,
he
by the
uses
way,
president.
which I just did you see? It says we have streaming problems. Please stand by. Did you see that at all? Yeah, it just popped up. But yeah, he abused his powers like nobody we know, like a drunken sailor would. I don't know.
Yeah,
I get it says, "Oops, seems like one of your streams is having problems."
not on my end.
Oh,
You're fine.
you're talking about where we're streaming to? I don't know
Nah, fuck that. Fuck it.
exactly.
How is your internet provider? How is the plan you have? You
It's a good
you have
one. It's good.
it's good. Okay,
Yes,
all right.
sir.
So I don't know what the fuck's going on.
So,
You know,
speaking of Republicans, old Mitch McConnell is really he seems like he's going down for the count pretty soon with the falls and the freeze and
well, Paul Manti has said that they asked him a question about the existence of extraterrestrials and UFOs or something, and he was about to say something, and Secret Service approached him, and some lady
maybe give him a
approached
little
him,
cattle prod to the back of the neck or something.
something like that. Like, in other words, dummy up.
He has no problem with that. That's his main goal is being a dummy. That man, when
Well,
he's gone, he'll be remembered for one thing: being all legislation, nothing else.
I think, and looking like a turtle.
Yes, and marrying into wealth and going with the minority and then talking about stopping minorities from coming into the country. He's a real old fashioned hick.
Well, Republicans are known to be hypocrites.
Oh yes.
They lie, and they're also hypocrites. Like, they'll throw stones in a glass house. They'll marry a minority, but
And put
don't try.
down, yeah,
If you're not married to them, don't you dare cross the border.
yeah, crazy stuff.
Like, um, I think Jeb Bush was married to a Spanish woman.
One point before his family stepped in and stopped it.
I don't even know if they ever stopped it, but hold on, please. Hey,
Hello,
Ronald J. Terrio of southeastern Louisiana. Greetings.
greetings and salutations.
Hello, Mr. Nick and Mr. James.
How
Uh,
you doing?
quick question, James. Did you fill out that class action lawsuit against Meta?
Not yet, but I have it saved. It's I didn't spread it around to everybody I know because you know there are a lot of people out there that are Mark Zuckerberg fans and Elon
Oh,
Musk fans, and I don't want them to say, that's okay. I don't want to make waves. But they what's been happening to me and
and
Mick
me.
and I said Mick and Joe, Mr. Clean, is that lately. I don't know if I told Ronald. Lately, the scammers have been using names and phone numbers of people that I know personally to try to get me to pick up the phone. And then it immediately switches. My phone immediately recognizes it as being either fraud or whatever, telemarketer or scam or whatever. And then it said in small letters coming from Facebook. So I'm thinking, is this guy in cahoots with these scammers?
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, I mean, that's the newest thing now. They're using names and numbers of people you already know, and of course, we're too slick to
Well,
just pick up the phone.
well, it happened to me once where James called me and it was somebody else. It was so creepy. And then some girl I called recently showed me on her phone, instead of my own name, it was my Facebook name that came through the phone. So it's
Yeah,
definitely a hijacking of our privacy. And I filled out that form yesterday. You have 1 month to file it. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. It has to do with monetary compensation for all the data
he
that the
sold.
little hawk nose stole and sold. Um, so that's that. I was reading some climate change articles, and what's happening, very sad. What's happening is coral reefs are becoming bleached from the sun,
Oh
where
God.
the reefs that are in more shallow waters, like 5 feet depth,
Yeah.
not the deep reefs, not yet. So what's happening is they're dying off because they're they're as they bleach from the sun, they release the algae that is their primary food source,
Oh
and
God.
then they starve. And we all know that the coral reef is similar to the rainforest. It's a whole ecosystem where so many marine creatures rely on, just like the rainforest.
We rely
Yeah,
on it. Yeah.
well, they call it the lungs of the planet Earth. Uh, hold on. Um, Cities will go under. Well, that's when the coastal cities. But what's going to happen when, I mean, Miami Beach is like over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. You're experiencing. Hey, Bart Robinson, how are you, sir? Good afternoon to you. What do you do when you're experiencing a heat wave, and then you jump in the ocean to try to cool off, or you jump into a in-ground pool
Or a
like the
lake.
whole, and it's a bathtub
Yeah.
because what do you call a jacuzzi, a hot tub?
Yes.
It, they say it's between 100 and 102 degrees Fahrenheit.
It's
Yeah,
sad.
so
It's a sad, sad thing.
that's what happened to me in Cabo San Lucas. They it was so hot that time that when I jumped into the in-ground pool, it was a bathtub.
In a minute,
That's
when
sad.
you get a moment, I'd like to say something.
Yeah, yeah, no, no. Now I'm turning the floor over to Ronald J.
I don't
Two.
like to interrupt people.
No, go ahead.
No
Um,
worries.
I want to apologize for last Sunday mocking Japanese dialect.
I don't remember.
It wasn't
I
very
mean,
nice. It was kind of mean spirited. I mean,
yeah,
honestly, if somebody mocks Cajun dialect, I don't get upset. It's funny to me. But, some people are sensitive. And I should, when we were talking about the buyouts, Sapporo buying out Anchor, and I was,
the beer,
yeah, and I
the
was saying,
swirl company, Anchor Steam.
yeah, Anchor Beer
Yeah.
Company. And I was saying, oh, we put money on bad horse, stuff like that. I was like, that's not very nice.
Well, I always say like Spanish people when they say crab, they say crack. They can't pronounce CRAP. They say crack, and Chinese people say crack, CRAP. Uh, Italians mispronounce everything.
Yeah, I mean, idioms are funny and all, but it, it could become hateful in a way, but I like Japanese people. Don't get me wrong. I don't really dislike anybody, actually. I like
Same
all.
here.
I like all.
my grandfather, used to say, I used to work in a factory, Social Security. Instead of Social Security, he used to say Social Security.
So
Social
Yeah,
Security.
my father says Massachusetts.
Massachusetts. Yeah, my
Massachusetts.
grandmother couldn't say it. She used to call it Massachusetts. Massachusetts.
Yeah, but it's
Massachusetts. Yeah.
funny, But
Or
I guess a lot of
supposedly instead of supposedly. Supposedly
yeah,
Supposedly.
supposedly, yeah.
But
instead of
what about ask you a question? I want to
axe
ask.
you.
They
A
What is
young
that? The new
lady
get?
was my waitress, and she said axe last night many times. She was very pretty, and I did not say anything to her.
Right. You want to say, what are you chopping wood or?
What is she related to Lizzie Borden,
She
who
was
took an axe and gave
she
her
was
mother?
attractive, so I let her say axe all she wanted.
Yeah.
The
You should have
waitress.
axed her out.
You
I
should have
was
asked her out, right?
I had an axe to grind with her.
Right. That's actually no. You had an ask to grind with her.
Oh,
Um.
you're going Western hat. Way to go there, the man with no name. Wow, 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 wow.
How does that guy, a man, a horse with no name?
Oh
That's
yeah,
uh,
America.
that's that's
America.
America. That's a little different than the Clint Eastwood.
Yeah. All you need now is a shawl and
Oh, the poncho.
you got punch. I guess a lot of my political views would be different from you two guys, but I never get angry talking about politics. But a lot of people get really angry and
Yeah.
throw a
Well, your
Yeah.
family,
So you're
you grew up in a Democrat family, Ronald, right?
right.
You grew up in a Democrat family, right? Your parents, grandparents,
Well,
or they mixed.
that was during a transition time in the 1970s. When all the Louisiana Democrats started transitioning because of Nixon's Southern strategy, they slowly transitioned over to Republican.
Oh, I
wow.
remember the Dixie. I remember the Dixiecrats and George Wallace.
Yeah, I remember hearing a little bit about him.
Yeah, he kept racism alive, right, George Wallace?
Well, Brother Wallace.
He was
Yeah,
a good
I believe he kept racism alive as much as he could.
uh,
He was pro
it was
segregation.
well, yes and no, but he was just an opportunist. Like a lot of people call what he did. A lot of what he did was like stunts. Like the George Wallace show. He was an opportunist. Like oh well, I can get a lot of votes being a big support segregation, and then when he see that's not going anywhere, oh yeah, I don't like segregation. I'm against all that. And it's like a lot of these people, they just whatever.
Is that like Al Sharpton would always show up for every injustice that involved a black
Yeah,
person, but if it was a white person being targeted, he would
yeah,
never.
yeah. That's a perfect example. Uh, Al Sharpton made a big career, is making a big career off of inflaming
Exploitation.
incidences and misrepresenting. Yeah, he's an exporter, a demagogue, and George
Remember
Wallace
the
was the same.
remember the Tawana Brawley case where she lied about the whole thing.
So yeah, growing up, I there was some interesting things going on, and my family had interesting discussions, we could call them, about things like we would go visit battlefields. That was very interesting. We would visit like Battle of Shiloh.
Wow.
What's that other battle? Oh, Vicksburg. Vicksburg, very interesting.
You know what would be fascinating
Those are
when you visit the battlefield is to bring one of those metal detector things.
There is nothing to find because people have scoured those battlefields with metal detectors. There hasn't been anything out there in 50 years. They went through and got every bullet. You could
What
find every.
was there a Battle of New Orleans? I thought I heard of something that in history, the Battle of New Orleans.
Yeah, well, in 1815, there was that was against Great Britain, and then there was the Battle of New Orleans in 1862, the United States versus the Confederate States. But the battle was actually south of New Orleans. There were two
Okay.
forts. There were forts on either side of the river, about many miles downriver, to protect from
The
invasion.
Union and
But
the Confederate.
yeah, and the forts
No.
didn't work.
Some of
They
you
got
I
kind
like
of
I
frozen.
like the I like the pirate. I like the pirate Jean Lafitte. Jean Lafitte.
apparently he was.
You froze, Mick.
Mick froze.
Yeah.
He was saying we froze, but I think he froze.
No, he froze.
Somebody had an article
Well,
saying
gentlemen, I don't know if you see what I see, but I see you're frozen, no longer live.
No, we're
Maybe
live.
we should
live.
leave and come back. I'm
No,
not sure.
I think it's
If
phone.
if you want to leave and come back, that might fix it. But we're fine.
Yeah, his phone connection is probably failing. Yeah.
We're fine. I mean, or you want to wait for it to kick in, and yeah, that's the best thing.
The good thing about using cell phones for this is it's convenient. The bad thing is they're not always reliable.
No, I know. Like last night when I went live with Paul Anthony Mantia, he gets the highest quality video and audio by using his iPad. It's an Apple product, but there's absolutely no issues with the compatibility with live stream, and it really is like very high definition, and we have no issues. So yeah, you were telling me Jean Lafitte might have been Jewish one time.
It's disputed, like he claimed he was or something, but he may have been, Lafitte. But whatever his background was, he was an interesting guy.
Yeah.
He was an interesting guy.
Now remember those two very crude sort of submarines, what is it, the Monitor and the Merrimack, during the Civil War?
Yeah, they were not submarines. They were armored, ironclad ships.
Yeah, they were low.
Yeah,
they were
low
low
profile, but they were the first ironclad ships, and they had a battle with each other.
The Monitor and the Merrimack, and what was their choice of weapon? Obviously, well, it wasn't torpedoes. They had cannons.
Like cannonballs, but all the cannonballs did was bounce off of each other's ship. They just had a firefight, and the cannonballs were bouncing off of each other. So they didn't do any damage. But the Merrimack's steering equipment broke, so it couldn't steer. So it just kind of.
I'm surprised they were able to stay afloat, being that they were made of iron.
Yeah, well, they were clad in iron. They were made of wood, but they were covered with iron and
iron coated.
Yeah, so then the Merrimack went up the river, just sinking all kind of Union ships, and then, but the steering equipment was sort of basic, and then it failed, and then the Monitor was a little better built, but it didn't do much. It was sort of like, we call it a gimmick at the time, but it revolutionized naval warfare. After that battle, every major country got rid of wooden ships overnight. It was like,
who dropped bombs from a dirigible? Was that World War I?
Germany.
That was Germany. Okay.
Those Zeppelins.
The Zeppelins. Yeah.
That cool song by Crosby, Stills, Nash, "Wooden Boats." It's written by Joni Mitchell, I think. It's
Wooden
not about
ship.
war. Yeah, wooden ships. Yeah, it's about, I think, the Mayflower and stuff, but it's just kind of similar to what you're talking about.
No, it is about war.
Oh, it is? I thought
that song was co-written by Jefferson Airplane and Crosby, Stills, Nash, and they both.
I thought it was about the Pilgrims. I'm sorry. What was it about, Jay?
So they those two bands used to hang out together a lot. So they co-wrote the song, and instead of fighting over it, they said, "Well, look, we'll both release it on both of our albums at the same time." So there was
Yes.
Nash Wooden Ship and Jefferson Airplane Wooden Ships. But it was about after a nuclear war where a man and a woman meet up, or just two people
Okay.
meet up, and they're talking about how they survived after the war, and they're the only
Saving
two.
humanity.
They're going to repopulate.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I could tell from your uniform you're from the other side, and I've
Oh,
been
that's
eating
cool.
I've been eating these purple berries for 30 days. They've been keeping
Yeah, I
me up.
remember that.
That's what it's about. Wooden ships. It's kind of weird, song, but yeah, no, I'm familiar with it. I actually have the album with the song on it.
Great song.
There's
What-
radioactive mutations over by Chernobyl, I hear.
And cats and dogs live there, and they don't get sick at all. They just walk all around in there.
There's a song about saving humanity by Black Sabbath called Into the Void, about leaving the earth and trying to survive somewhere else. Yeah, the earth is in big trouble.
I have that
Yes.
album too, Into the Void.
Yeah, Masters Reality. Oh, what a
Yeah.
great album.
Rocket
Yeah,
Engines.
the earth is in so much trouble. It's frightening with the global warming.
Well,
Yeah.
Oh,
Some-
I'm getting a message on streaming issues again. I don't know.
No, you're pixely. You're blood, but I hear you.
Yeah.
The main thing is I hear you.
uh-oh.
Well,
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
As soon as I said I hear you, his video.
As soon as you said I hear you, it was like Steve Austin in $6 Million Man. She's breaking
We're
up.
breaking up. We can rebuild him.
Remember he used to run. Well, the cyborg, they're not far away from real cyborgs.
How about now? Can you guys hear me now?
You're fine.
Thank you. Yeah, I am very concerned about the world today. It's a wicked place now.
You know what I noticed? That anytime I see videos or photos of Lake Michigan near Chicago, it looks like it's a beautiful shade of blue.
It is.
It's pretty. It almost looks like you're in the Caribbean. And
No,
you're
but
looking
I've been there, and it's brown.
It's brown.
But
Well,
it
the
reflects,
place.
it reflects the sky, so it looks blue. But it's more brown, from river water. Flowing in there.
But they reversed the flow of the river water. It doesn't flow into Lake Michigan. The Army Corps of Engineers changed the routing of the river so it doesn't float in anymore.
Well,
that's only in Chicago, though. But
Yes.
there's other rivers that flow into Lake Michigan.
Yeah, you mean like in Wisconsin and stuff? Yeah, because Lake Michigan touches a few states.
Yeah, the Mississippi goes to Lake Superior, doesn't it? Doesn't it end at Lake Superior?
No, it ends at Lake. It starts at Lake Itasca in Minnesota, and it ends at the Gulf.
Oh, Lake Itasca is where it connects to.
Lake
and then
Itasca is just a lake, and it flows into a little stream,
Delta.
which is the Mississippi River, and then other streams flow into it, and then pretty soon it's big, But I jumped across, I walked across the Mississippi River on a little plank where it starts. It's clear as a bell. Where it starts, clear.
No, it gets. Does it get more narrow or just more or shallower?
It gets wider It's wider and wider and deeper. By the time you get to where I live, it's a mile wide.
Yeah.
And it's about 90 feet deep.
Wow.
Well, the Mississippi is the border of separating Illinois from
Missouri,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mississippi runs through Illinois near the Quad Cities, near Galena, Illinois.
The Mississippi River has catfish in it.
And Cape Girardeau, where Rush Limbaugh was from.
That's on the Mississippi River. Yep.
Cape Girardeau's there, and also of course East St. Louis and St. Louis.
Yep. I know all about the Mississippi River, James and Mick. I wrote a book, Life on the Mississippi. Oh no,
Nice.
I'm sorry, that was Mark Twain. I was taking credit for him.
Why don't why don't they bring back riverboat gambling on modern versions of a flat bottom
What-
riverboat
Don't they have that in New Orleans? Don't they still have riverboats?
with the wheel
Yeah,
with the wheel
they have
going on?
those, but they got
Because
a
they,
land-based casino, so why would they go out?
They got the casinos on there.
Nah,
well,
they got
they.
land-based casino, big, huge casinos.
I was offered a cruise on a boat from New Orleans to Austin, Texas.
What?
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 Well,
No.
near Austin or something.
Yeah, you wouldn't get to tech. You could not do that. No, I wouldn't connect.
Well, what about you? Could you get from New Orleans to part of Texas, though, right?
You could get
Now,
to New
what-
Orleans, from New Orleans to the Texas-Oklahoma border if you went on the Red River, yeah. But you couldn't
What
take
is
a
the-
riverboat. You could take maybe a little paddle boat because the river
Okay.
What is the name of the river by San Antonio? The river.
San Antonio River.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the truth.
Nice.
And then let's see. The Ohio River separates Kentucky from Ohio.
Ohio, yeah.
That's where
They all flow
Cincinnati.
into the Mississippi. Now you could, if you had a small enough boat and a lot of patience, you could go from where I live, right by New Orleans. Now they have the river roads, so you can actually drive, but if you wanted to be in the water, you could go up the Mississippi River and then go east on the Ohio River all the way to Pittsburgh.
Wow.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh and New Orleans are connected by the river. You could go into
Yeah.
New York State. New York State is connected to New Orleans. Chicago, the Chicago River, like you said, they reversed the flow. Blame the Corps of Engineers for messing up the environment because they're one of the biggest culprits. But anyway,
Yeah.
that's your government at work. Anyway, you could go to Chicago on the Mississippi River. It connects to Minneapolis, St. Paul, connects to St. Louis, of course, as we know.
Well, before the railroad, that was the way. That was the transportation between city. Even in like China, the Yellow River, the Yangtze River.
River, yeah.
Didn't Lewis and Clark, or weren't some of the first people that discovered those routes in early America? Lewis and Clark.
Well, they walked from the Mississippi River to the Pacific Ocean. Yeah.
They walked. Holy, that's a long walk,
because
isn't it?
Yeah. But their job was to survey the area because
Yeah.
the United States had just bought Louisiana, and so
Jeez,
Thomas Jefferson said, "Your job is to walk from the Mississippi River all the way to the Pacific and come back and tell me what you see because we don't know what's there."
They didn't get scalped.
No. In fact, they hired an Indian woman named Sacagawea, and she guided them all the way out there. And so the Indians say she was a traitor, but they said, oh well, she guided them, and they had all kind of adventures. They never got killed, but they had all kind of crazy adventures, and
Yeah.
all kind of babies being born looked a lot like those two guys, and
Were they facia brutus? Did they have a perfect face for radio?
I guess the Indian girls liked them. I don't know, but I know there's a lot of. But one of those guys was mental. He came back after and he killed himself.
Lewis and Clark.
One of them, I think. William
Really?
Clark committed suicide, right? Wasn't it him?
Over mental anguish and illness.
Just, I think it was something like he had made some bad investments or whatever. But he killed himself. Yeah.
Oh
he did.
yeah.
Yeah, he did. And yeah, you can go all over the whole middle of the United States. Connects to New Orleans from the Denver, Colorado connects to New Orleans by water. Tulsa, Oklahoma City, Montana. You can go all the way from Montana, Billings, Montana, to New Orleans on water. Now that's assuming you could tolerate floating that far.
Is there a river? Is there a river connecting Kansas City, Missouri, to the Mississippi?
Yeah, the Missouri River.
Oh,
Take that to New Orleans. Some old guy did that once. Some old man. He went from his goal was to go from like Minneapolis to New Orleans in this little paddle boat.
Wow.
I mean,
Use a gondola.
Well,
wear
you don't
like a
need
rim.
that. You just need something to guide you because the current's going to take you. The current's going
Yeah.
to take you. It
Strong currents.
might kill you. Might kill you. You know. But
So the gondola wouldn't work.
But he made it. He made it, and he was like, they had him on TV, like, oh yeah, it was really interesting, except for all those
Hiking
bad
mountains.
rainstorms.
Was that like the guy that rode the riding mower across the country? Remember him?
Something like that. But yeah, so but we have
Well,
the Great River Road. We have the Great River Road right by my house here, and you can go from Louisiana all the way to where the river starts on the Great River Road Scenic Highway.
There's
the Ohio.
There's a street in Chicago in the suburbs in Chicago called River Road. I was just driving on it. What about Route 66? I remember that was a big deal before I was born.
I drove on most. What year were you born?
Santa Monica.
66?
Oh,
It ends at the Santa Monica Pier.
Santa Monica at the Pacific Coast Highway. That's where it ends. That's where
I heard it's still open but not traveled as much, that they created other routes for people to get.
If you want to drive from Chicago to Santa Monica, California, and see a bunch of closed down businesses and ruins, sort of like a ghost town.
66?
66, because you'll see a lot of.
That's sad.
So you won't get your kicks anymore on Route 66.
Well, you get your kicks if you like seeing a bunch of closed down stores and stuff, because once they built the interstate, it was like.
Yeah. I mean,
tumbleweeds. You might see tumbleweeds.
I mean, they wrote songs about it. They wrote songs about Route 6. You'll get your kicks on Route 66.
Yeah, there is still a Route 66 now, to be fair. They built the interstate right next to it in Illinois, so that was the end of it. It's just a side road now, like a service road, you know. It's nothing.
So Route 66 is like Route 1 is on the East Coast.
Right, but Route 1 was far enough away from the interstate that it continued to survive. But Route 66, they built the interstate like right next to it.
Yeah, they replaced it big time from what I heard.
So, I mean, if you're not near an exit, if you're not near an interstate exit, you're just stuck. And ain't nobody going to get off and go backtrack to go see your store that sells natural honey or something like that.
Yeah.
Natural honey.
Now, when you get to Missouri, there's a Missouri State Highway 66, which used to be United States Highway 66, and it runs all the way across Oklahoma Highway 66, and it's still pretty busy. And the reason for that is in Oklahoma they charge a toll to ride on the interstate highway, and a lot of people in Oklahoma say, "Oh no, I'm not paying a toll to ride on the highway," so they take 66. So it's
we got tolls here galore in Illinois.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah,
Indiana too.
Oh yeah, and there's still a California highway, and there's still an Arizona and California Highway 66, which is the old road. So those are pretty, pretty empty. But except in California, where 66 is like a business boulevard by LA, where it's full of. Oh look, McDonald's. There is the motor vehicles office. I gotta go get a. You know what I mean? It's.
Yeah.
They give road tests in the desert or something.
But I tell you what, James and Mick, when you get out on Route 66 in the desert in Arizona, you're alone. I mean, it is.
Wow. Desolate and barren.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. I've never been in an environment like that in my life. That it was so.
Yeah, but it's pristine and quiet.
Well, you gotta drive to Gary, Indiana. You'll see some closed and burnt out buildings galore when the steel industry left Gary.
Oh, yeah, I know a little bit about that. I know a little bit
about the ghetto.
Yes, it is.
That's where the Jackson family is from.
Yeah. Michael Jackson's family. Beautiful.
Yeah, you know when the all of them, including.
That's near me. I drive past Gary sometimes when I'm heading to Michigan or something. And it's a butthole.
When the Ohio River arrives at Pittsburgh, it connects with the Allegheny and the Monongahela. And that's why they called it Three Rivers Stadium.
It makes a V. We've got two leading into one. It makes a V, and the whole city of Pittsburgh is inside that V.
Wow.
And you
Yeah,
can
they
walk
have
around that park. There's a little park, and you can go there and see where the two rivers come together and make the Ohio. And it's very
there's like a there's like a fountain at the triangle.
yeah, with like a little park. Yeah, we went to that.
Little park, yeah, and that's the Three Rivers, and that's why they named it Three
River
Rivers.
Stadium. Yeah.
I don't know what they have now, but
Well, they got the new stadium right next to where it used to be.
it's in the same area.
Yeah.
The same thing. Mick told me the new Comiskey Park is in the same neighborhood.
You got a call.
I got a call. Yeah, it says I have a call. What happened? Oh, he has a call. That's the private message.
You got to answer a call. Yeah.
Yeah.
Comiskey Park was right across the street from where the new White Sox Stadium is, and Yankee Stadium is across the street from the old Yankee Stadium.
Right, and they're both in shitty neighborhoods.
Not true exactly. The neighborhood near the White Sox ballpark is pretty nice. I've walked through there many times, at least 5 or 6 times. Now, when you get on the east side of the interstate, yeah, it's a good place to go get killed.
That's because that's the South Side, the infamous South Side of Chicago, right?
It's like Good Times, but without the good times.
Yeah, Good Times and Leroy Brown and what's his name? Mr. T is from that.
I don't want to go on the east side that I-94. Now, but to be fair, if you go right immediately north of the White Sox Stadium, where I've been many times with other people too, they can back me up on this. It is an Italian neighborhood. There are Italian there are Italian restaurants, right? There's a park right north of the White Sox Stadium. There's a park where they have a swimming pool, like inside swimming pool and
so Little Italy in Chicago is like
directly north of that park. There's Little Italy, and they have Italian restaurants. There's a Catholic church, it's Italian Catholic church, and people have Italian flags in front of their house. And
I know there's a substantial Italian community in Chicago, and as well as a lot of Irish people too.
Now, if you keep walking north of that neighborhood, now there is a Croatian neighborhood.
Right. And there's more Polish people in Chicago than there is in like Warsaw.
So when you go to Chicago, they got the Italian neighborhood. Then there's the Croatian neighborhood with a Croatian Catholic church right north of the Italian, and they're all got the Croatian flags in front of their houses. And if you go right north of there, the next neighborhood is Chinatown.
Oh,
Chinatown, and it's very nice, very interesting, beautiful Chinese restaurants and Chinese grocery stores with all the live seafood.
I think there's a Japanese community in Chicago also.
And if you go east of if the interstate, then it's Little Africa or whatever you want to call it. Well, I mean,
Yeah, I know.
Little Italy.
Like in Brooklyn, the West Indies neighborhood is well, Jamaica, Queens is not a nice area, but yeah, the Brooklyn, it's was it Crown Heights and Flushing.
Oh yeah, Jamaica's in Queens,
yeah. Crown Heights and Flushing, Brooklyn are predominantly West Indies. They have the West Indies parade and all that. And
they got that big Chinese neighborhood in Flushing, New York. Queens.
Yeah, that's
China,
Flushing, New York. I think that's one of the biggest Chinatowns in the country.
That's the good Chinatown here too. That's the good Chinatown. Don't go to the Manhattan Chinatown.
No, Mott Street and Canal Street. No. That's the good Chinatown. Now we were talking. He was talking about Mick. Ronald was talking about how by the old and new Comiskey Park, one side of the highway is nice, and the other side. Oh, I'm echoing. My voice is echoing back. Have to leave it back. My voice. Hear myself. damn iPhone. Yeah,
He's got some.
yeah.
Oh
He
man,
has
he's
to
having
tinker.
technical issues today. That's a shame.
Yeah, some Sundays he does it, and others he has to go back and forth. I had the same problem when I had an iPhone, and if I would go on Eric's show, it was horrible. It was worse than what Mick is going through. It's that what was happening is the iPhone was forcing Safari as a browser anytime I was taking part in a live stream. And I hated Safari, so I always try to use Google Chrome. You know, or Mozilla is a good browser too.
Safari.
I like
that. Safari.
no luck with Safari is horrible. Yeah, it's just not compatible.
It was trying to force you to use Safari.
Yeah, it's just not compatible with live stream. Apple wants you to buy all of their software.
Remember my bad camera problem?
Yeah.
Here's what I noticed about that bad camera problem. It got extremely bad after they went to Windows 11. I think what happened was they made it to where you had to get a Windows 11 computer or none of your stuff was going to work.
Really?
Because that's when my system crashed when they went to Windows 11. And they were like, well, you could still use Windows 10, but
what's funny is they keep telling me my computer hardware or my desktop is not compatible to download on Windows 11, but I have a custom built jacked up to the max desktop. So how could, with all the RAM memory I have and everything and the CPU, how could I do
that? It's how they do it. And I just had to pay the $800. That was it. $800.
The Windows cult. I was part of that. They would say your software expired. You have to relicense it and bullshit like that. I hated it.
That's why my brother-in-law is using a Linux distro called Mint, and he's got every software that's just as good as the ones you have to pay for is free.
Nice.
Everything is free, and you can use Google Chrome as your browser, and everything works impeccably. Like all the software
performs at a high level.
Yeah, like
sounds really good.
Like the video editing one is called OpenShot. You drag and drop it's really great. The only thing is Messenger is not yet compatible with Linux.
Okay.
Yeah, Facebook, of course, Facebook Messenger, and I don't think WhatsApp, which is owned by Facebook, is.
Now you wanted to ask Mick about the Comiskey Park area.
Oh yeah. Like one side of the highway by Comiskey Park is a nice neighborhood, and he told me the Italian neighborhood is north of that, and then there's a Croatian neighborhood north of the Italian neighborhood,
and then
there's Chinatown. But he says when you go on the other side of the highway by Comiskey Park, it's the bad neighborhood.
Oh yeah, very much so.
So it's separated by a highway. Right?
Yes, you got to be real careful around Comiskey. Just go in the stadium and get to your car and get the flock out of there.
I think it's called Dan Ryan Expressway.
Yes, the Dan Ryan.
Why don't they just send, like, if I was the governor, I would send the National Guard and just wipe out that whole part of Chicago. I would use nerve gas and
come on.
Hey, right now, what you're talking about is genocide. So take it easy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We know what they actually let happen. They let them kill each other. Unfortunately, that's what goes on there.
I don't want them to mug nice people.
Well, there's a lot of black on black crime on the west side, and it's very unfortunate that the country seems not to care about it.
What about
Chirac? they called
What
it.
about
No,
getting X
no, they don't care about it. Black
special?
Lives Matter, but maybe black people haven't heard that.
Yeah.
What about
That sounds
hiring
bad.
X, it's like special forces and making like Charles Bronson's out of them, like
Well,
vigilante.
they have what was the Guardian Angels, which are volunteers that
Yeah, but they
do.
don't have any weapons.
Oh, I'm sorry. Take it easy there, Mister Hungry for Power. Yeah, the Guardian
I'm,
Angels try to protect people, and they do
I'm
what they can.
In New York City.
And in
in New York.
Chicago, they have Guardian Angels there too. Yeah, in Chicago they have the Guardian Angels.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
Lisa Sliwa is from Chicago. When Curtis Sliwa was married to Lisa, she's from Chicago, and her name is Evers now. She's a news broadcaster in New York.
Oh, he died.
She went back to her maiden name. Well, no, he's alive and kicking very
Oh,
strongly.
they didn't
So
stay together. Oh, okay.
No, they divorced because he's right wing and she's progressive,
hey,
and
Ronnie S.
they're bucking heads. They're
Yeah. No, I
bucking
mean,
heads.
I'm right wing, you could say, but not in the neoconservative way of looking at it. You know what I mean? Like,
No, I don't like neo liberals, or I don't like extremists. I don't like extremists. It's just I said what I said because I want to protect the innocent. Like
right now, I mean, I usually speak very frankly. Of course, you got to watch what you say on the internet, but
the names are changed. What was that, Dragnet? The names were changed to protect the innocent.
innocent.
Dun, dun, dun,
I mean, I remember 3 or 4 years ago, we were being preached to about Black Lives Matter. Like, I didn't know that before. I didn't know. Oh, I always say it like this. Really? I didn't know that.
all lives.
I thought
All
they
lives.
didn't matter. I thought Black Lives did matter. Oh, I'm glad you told me that. It's good to hear. That kind of response I had because it's so ridiculous.
All lives
And I
matter.
said, well, if that's true, which of course we know is true, I said, well, maybe you should tell it to black people because they don't seem to get the message since almost 100% of the murders of black people are perpetuated by who? Klansmen? I don't think so. Who is killing most of the black people in America
Other black people.
now?
Well, the
Say that.
the ghetto the ghetto does not want to defund the police in any way, shape, or form.
No. The
They need the police.
white liberals who don't live in the ghetto wanted to fund the police since they
Yeah.
don't live near it.
Yeah, Ronnie's right. They're neo-feminists. They have a power agenda. They hate men, and they're responsible for changing dating and relationships, and the family unit. The
Are neo-feminists lesbians if they hate men? What do you what?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would imagine if they don't need a man around, they got to do something together.
You remember Gloria Steinem and
Yes.
Betty Friedan and
Bella
Bella
Abzug, none of whom were Presbyterian, by the way, if you get my drift.
and one was uglier than the other. They had there were two baggers. You needed a paper bag for your head and their head in case their paper bag.
I thought a
fell.
two-bagger was one for them and one for you to throw up in.
Yeah, you could
We
call it.
started all of that stuff in 1957 with the feminine mystique, and they were revolutionaries, and they came from a communist background, and they knew what they were doing, and it wasn't about women's rights. It was about what you're talking about, changing the game board.
Wow.
Yeah, they were their lobby.
Who's the mother of that guy on CNN with the white hair? Was that Gloria Steinman or
Steinem.
Steinem?
Here's what I found.
You know,
but she's famous.
She had long poker straight hair.
She's famous.
the gay dude on CNN with white hair. I can't remember his name.
He's from the world.
Isn't his mother? She was some socialite, Gloria Vanderbilt, maybe.
Somebody famous, and
Yes,
that's right.
yes.
But he's from New Orleans.
Oh, he was born there.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a much of an accent though. Does he hide it?
he might have not been raised there, but he was, and just like Brian Gumble was from New Orleans.
Wow, him and his brother have the corner marketed on wigs.
Yeah,
Bryant and what's his other Greg and Bryant. I
yeah.
like them both though. They're very good. At their jobs. I like them. So football is around the corner. Yeah, Anderson Cooper. Thanks, Ronnie Simpson. Yeah, I don't dislike him. I just don't care about him as I don't look to him for news or anything. I just know his mother was someone famous. Um,
He has a very dry personality.
Oh,
He's
sorry,
not. He's not very.
he's from New York City. I thought he was from New Orleans. Well,
Yeah, he's not. He's not. He don't have any charisma.
New something. He's from New something.
yeah. So football season's coming up. Do you watch football at all, Ronald J?
Yes, I go to games every weekend.
Meaning like local or professional?
Joe Biden hates me.
So do you like you go to see?
I used to go to Saints games, but I haven't been to a Saints game since 2018. I got tired of going to NFL games. It was a big hassle, but
Yeah, it is.
I don't really enjoy them. I rather watch them on television. Now, college football, I go to college games a lot. Yeah, oh yeah.
That's cool. Is that at any colleges you worked at or?
Oh well, yeah, a little bit, but I usually go see Tulane University because my family went to school there. A lot of my family, and then I go to Louisiana State University LSU games.
Yeah.
But not as much because they're a hassle too because there's a lot of traffic and all. And then I go to Southeastern Louisiana University games. So I go to a lot of games in New Orleans at Tulane because I have friends that have connections there, and we tend to get free tickets. I won't mention that on the air. But
Do you live in New Orleans proper or in the suburbs near New Orleans or?
yeah, I'm about 25 miles west of New Orleans.
That's cool. Yeah, I live in the suburbs of Chicago, so yeah, about the same.
I'm 28.
Um,
I'm 28 miles from my house to Tulane Stadium, football stadium. 28 miles, so
well,
doesn't take, doesn't take too long
the
to get.
Chicago Bears are going to be moving out near my area eventually. They bought the Arlington Heights racetrack, and they're
Yeah,
working on negotiating, and that's close to me, very close.
on the northwest side.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting news. Traffic, of course, will be totally messed up.
They don't like the Soldier Field, huh?
Well, that's not theirs. They don't own Soldier Field. Soldier Field doesn't hold enough people. The Bears are going to have to be sold once Virginia McCaskey does pass away. She's like 94, and to get the highest value, they need to have a stadium. They're the only team that doesn't own their own stadium. And Soldier Field, they remodeled it, but it's just not really an NFL stadium.
Yeah. Well, the New Orleans Saints don't own their stadium.
They don't. The city owns it, you mean?
The state of Louisiana owns the Superdome.
Gotcha. Well, they do have some money into it, I believe, don't they? Aren't the Saints part owner at all or anything?
No, they just put
Oh,
they just put money into it to fix it up, make it nice. It's fancy. It's NFL is built to be an NFL stadium.
yeah.
Soldier Field was sort of like an Olympic stadium, and then you just kind of converted it into an NFL stadium.
Yeah, it was built for the World's Fair. There was supposed to be, a crowning achievement then, and it's pretty damn old.
Yeah, it's real old. Yeah. Yeah, there are a few teams that don't own their own stadium, but most do these days. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it'll raise the value of the Bears, and then when they go to sell them, they'll make the most money. That's really what it's about. Because Virginia McCaskey is, not going to live forever, and when she passes away, there is not one single family member that can control it. So not many of them want to. They want the money. They don't want to own the team. So that will overrule anyone that wants to own it, and whoever wants. There's so many of them. There's not one of them that can do anything. So it'll be sold to somebody that will make it a good team again. Hopefully, we're praying and hoping.
Yeah. Ronnie's right. I mean, these teams control the stadiums because they have threatened the city to move. So that's how they got control. They'll just say, "Well, guess we'll have to move to another city." Oh no,
That's
no,
what,
we'll.
that, that's what happened to the Baltimore Colts. They moved to overnight to Indianapolis.
They didn't like tell anyone. It was kind of secretive too.
Yeah, they just snuck out.
Yeah, they were getting kind of hassled in that city, and they were like, "Well, we need a new stadium," and then Indianapolis had a brand new dome, and they were like, "Well, you can come here," and they were like, "Okay," and they, like you said, they snuck out at 2 in the morning so they wouldn't get stopped.
Yeah, that's Don Shula was the old coach. Johnny Unitas was Bubba Smith. Johnny Unitas was the quarterback. I think he was from uh, Navy.
No,
Roger Staubach.
Was
I
from
think
Navy, yeah.
Roger Staubach was from Navy. Johnny Unitas.
Well, speaking of the Colts, the Ravens moved from Cleveland, and Ray Lewis's son OD'd and died
yeah,
recently. Ray Lewis the third, yeah. So did one of I think Robert De Niro's grandson OD'd and died. It's all this fentanyl. Fentanyl's being put into all illicit drugs.
I don't know
It's
why
a,
people want to take drugs. I mean, what's wrong, people? Why do you want to take drugs? It's insanity.
Life is a struggle, and short enough as it is.
well, the problem is these recreational drugs were not cut with fentanyl in the past, and now they are, and they're all quite deadly. Fentanyl should be outlawed.
Oh,
Many
well,
celebrities have died from fentanyl. Prince, Tom Petty.
I'm pretty sure it's outlawed, but it doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean anything.
Well, it can still be prescribed by doctors. Yeah,
Every illegal, every recreational drug has a medical use. It's just that people misuse it. That's why it's called drug abuse. See,
exactly. Yeah, well, it's turning into drug-related death, unfortunately. But
I mean, if you, it's your listen. If somebody um enjoys fine wine and craft beer and top shelf liquor, okay, that's what you're supposed to do. You enjoy the flavor, the aroma. But if you turn that into alcoholism and then you drink until you have cirrhosis of the liver and then you die from that, well that's you.
right.
That's your choice as an adult. I mean,
that is a drug abuse as well, because alcohol is a drug.
same thing with smoking. Same,
Yes.
Right. But the thing
marijuana.
about it, if you buy a beer at the grocery store, pretty much no chance that it's going to be laced with fentanyl. Now,
Exactly. Luckily.
people say, I'm going to buy some pot, but it's a good chance it could have that stuff in it.
Oh no, not pot.
Why do you need to buy this marijuana? I want to get high. Well, man, why don't you go get a hobby? Why don't you go get a hobby? Find something to do.
Well, weed's legal here in Illinois. They don't put fentanyl in weed. They put it in cocaine and heroin and other illicit drugs.
They do put it in marijuana in Louisiana and other states.
You have to get
not from the
marijuana.
dispensaries here. They don't allow it, so it's all safe. I get edibles from there, and I'm fine. Luckily,
dispensaries, yeah. Well,
Well, it has to be a reputable source. You can't get it from some dealer on the
you're
street.
buying stuff on the street. You're buying stuff on the street. I mean, come on, man. What are you doing?
Yeah, true.
What are you going to do? Sue the guy? I'm going to go to court.
But it is an extremely medicinal plant. I mean, it has helped many people.
I'm not disputing that.
With health issues.
But the problem is the fentanyl is undetected and people don't know what they're getting into. Where in the past it was never there, so it's really a very slippery slope for these poor souls that have all died from it.
Yeah, I've always said this for years, that you name any drug, it'll have medical usage. Heroin, cocaine, lysergic acid, diethylamide, marijuana.
Well, I saw a vintage
PCP.
I saw vintage photographs of over-the-counter cocaine and heroin, and even testosterone were over-the-counter when you didn't need a doctor's prescription. And we're talking about maybe 1940s,
Yeah.
1930s.
You're playing with fire. I mean, if you want to do drugs, go ahead, but you're playing with fire. That's it. Go ahead, play with fire. Alcohol, like y'all were saying, that's playing with fire in a sense. I
Every
know a lot of
every
people. I know a lot of
yeah
people have been burned in that fire.
every
Yeah.
vice has its limits. That's for damn sure, including like even gambling and stuff like that. Ruin your life
Very,
in a
very,
Yeah,
lot of different ways.
very serious consequences.
gambling. I have a friend that he won about $1,000 on a slot machine. I says, walk away. Don't play the money. Pocket it.
Yeah,
What did he do? He not only lost it all when I wasn't around, he was going to the ATM machine in the casino,
it's an addiction. Always trying to get your money back.
emptying out his bank account.
Gambling is so comical to me because it's obviously a rigged game. It's rigged. So you want to play a game where I can look at your cards, but you can't look at mine. Oh, that's fair.
Well,
So
it's always in the house's favor.
sure, it's rigged.
Always,
That's why I say
yeah.
it's rigged. It's rigged. They're not there to make you have a good time.
Yeah, all games in the casino are in the house's favor.
So you go there and you say, "I'm going to make some money." No, you're not going to make money. It's a rigged
Well,
game.
those that do get caught, the card counters, they catch them and take all their winnings. Yeah.
Yes, if you're there to make money, they're going to kick you out. It's there to take your money. It's here.
I knew a card counter. He was a mathematics genius. He was a math professor at Rutgers University, and he knew how to count cards.
Wow.
And his name was Bobby Katz. He was like a little Woody Allen looking guy. And he got greedy. I told him, do not stay in one casino that long.
Did they arrest him? Have him arrested?
He got banned from like a few casinos. I says, well, that's your fault.
Exactly. Dumb and dumber.
He stays there until he wins 300 grand, and then they right away they had their eye on him. They had their eye on him. They established he was a card counter, and and then he was banned.
Stupid.
I says, what's wrong with you, man? You don't stay there that long.
But they're addicted. It's a sickness.
You move on. You go to another casino.
Well, money is man's invention, and we ruined our lives with it.
Well, anything,
Depends on the
many
person.
things could be used for good or evil.
Yeah, that's for darn sure.
People will tell you money is the root of all evil. But actually, if you read the Bible, it doesn't say money is the root of all evil. It says the love.
Yes, exactly. The love of money.
The love of money is the root.
Yeah, money's just a neutral object. You use it as exchange. It's the love of money. That's the.
I mean, if temptation is waved in front of your face, it's up to you to decide whether or not to bite the hook, to take the bait.
Right.
You don't have to take the bait.
Life is about choices, that's for sure.
Don't take the bait.
Like Ronnie S. I think Nancy Reagan said, just say no. What? It's true. Just say no.
I did. I didn't get involved with drugs when I was in high school. I could have, but I thought to myself, well, A, I have no interest in it. Secondly, you could just look around and see people who are drug addicts, and I thought that doesn't seem like a very productive avenue.
Look at all the alcohol and beer review shows that are out there with all the miscellaneous people that we might not know or be friends with. They go on, and before you know it, they're all very drunk, and they're not reviewing anything.
No, unfortunately, you're right. I've seen a number of them progress from being good beer reviewers to stumbling alcoholics.
Yeah, and their voices are slurring. They're not reviewing anything in any intelligent way.
Right now, I'm not going to stay on much longer. But if you look at alcoholism and drug abuse, or probably gambling addiction, I'm sure gambling addiction, these all have an underlying psychological basis. Usually people that become drug addicts, alcoholics, gambling addicts, or whatever addiction you want to talk about, they usually have some kind of psychological problem to start with. They're not just happy-go-lucky guy going down the street, living his life and say, hey, you know what, I think I'll become a stumbling drunk. It doesn't work that way. There's
Yeah.
underlying problems.
Right. That's why some alcoholics are nasty drunks and pick fights, and some alcoholics are happy drunks.
But they're still drunks.
But they're still drunks. I know somebody that has to take a prescribed, excuse me, it's not a prescribed burp, a prescribed medication to resist the urge to drink.
It's terrible. It becomes, well, alcohol is double-edged sword, because not only does it have a psychological underbody, it's physically addictive. So your body will start to want it. Physical, like heroin, physical addiction.
Yeah.
Nicotine. Some drugs don't have physical addiction, like cocaine is not physically addictive.
Like when you do Dawn Busters, which I just want to promote, is one of Ronald J. Terrio's weekly shows. He gets up before the crack of dawn and he does a review. And let's say you have one very popular Scotch whiskey versus another. Now you drink a small amount to review the whiskeys. You don't keep on refilling throughout the show like a lot of these people are doing.
No, I just pour about that much.
You mentioned that.
I catch a lot of heat for that show. People are like, you need to go to AA, clown. I'm like, okay.
That drug to stop drinking, that's what killed Keith Moon from The Who. He was taking it and overdosed on it.
Yeah,
I don't know if it was the same exact drug.
He took 32 pills.
Yep. Yeah, he died.
I think that's suicide. You're supposed to take one pill. You're supposed to take one pill a day and you take 32. Yeah, I don't think that's an accident.
He was bipolar. He was really out there, and
he took the drug to protect himself from alcoholism
and died from it.
Overdosed on that drug.
Yeah, it was sad.
But I don't see how you could accidentally take 32 pills when you're only supposed to take one.
Well, when you're a bipolar nut, he probably doesn't like you and I.
Just like I heard when alcoholics go to AA meetings. When they go to AA meetings, I hear they drink pot after pot after pot of coffee.
And smoke cigarettes. I've been to AA meetings when I was younger. Mandatory AA meetings when I was 20 years old.
They're very addictive. They're very addictive.
Yeah, they're like real wound up. Like I've dealt with people who are alcoholics in my life, and they're like real wound up. Like they're like this all the time. Like James, they're like this.
Tense. So they're replacing one addiction.
And I used to drink a lot, and now I'm not going to drink anymore. And I just want to apologize to everybody who I offended. And now I go to meetings, and I'm doing a lot better.
Sobriety.
And then they go around all day, like for 12 hours. They'll tell you, I'm sober now, boy. Let me tell you, I feel a lot better now. And I'm thinking, you sure you feel better? Yeah. They drink, like you say, 25 cups of coffee, and they're smoking one after the other. Well, I'm glad I'm off that alcohol. That alcohol was messing me up, boy.
And when they brag too much about their sobriety, and they overdo it, and all they talk about is day 30, day 90.
They do that for trying to get support from other ex-drunks. That's why they do it.
To drive you nuts, talking. And then they'll go around, like James said, they preach to everybody. Let me tell you, you need to stop drinking. Wait a minute. Hey, buddy, I didn't smash my truck twice. I didn't get fired for drinking.
You didn't get DWI'd.
You the guy that's got to go to the programs. Don't kind of hustle me because you drink a bottle of Crown Royal every day. Don't bring that on me. It becomes like that, like a mania almost.
It's a mania. Like when you do Dawn Busters and you take a long sip of a good let's say it's a single malt Scotch Okay,
I've got
because
it.
blended has too much. Could have too much cheapo crap in it, right? Blended.
Well, no, not
So
necessarily. That's not really true, but yeah, it could, but it doesn't
uh,
necessarily.
you take a long sip. First you smell it, the bouquet, the aroma. And you take a long sip. You swoosh it around your mouth. You taste the difference between whiskey, Scotch A and Scotch B, and that's a hobby. That's not alcoholism.
Look at my just go and look at my video this morning from the tequila taste challenge. You watch the video and tell me, does that look like somebody that's old drunk? You know,
I think I posted it on Everything Is Food. As a
oh,
matter
the
of fact,
Jose Cuervo versus the Tijuana.
yeah,
Okay,
the today's Dawn Busters. I posted it.
I got to get back on
Nice.
Facebook. I hadn't checked Facebook since 6 o'clock this morning, but
You're
Yeah,
not
you might
missing anything.
well, he has a group called Alcohol Legs that and then he has you still have the rock and roll music group.
Rock and Roll Club.
Yeah, he's got a couple things going
And I'll
on.
post
Cool.
And then I post things and everything is food sometimes. Like if I see nice photos from those restaurants.
Oh, very enjoyable for yeah. Mick is an administrator. He sees all your posts.
And I
And,
never post a photo from a restaurant I haven't eaten at. So like the Great Wall,
Nice.
we went to the Great Wall last weekend, so that's why I was posting photos.
The Great Wall of Birmingham, was it?
Yeah.
Got
The
it.
Great Wall of Birmingham. You ate there a lot because you
No, I got a bunch of different photos from it, and I thought I would show like a little series of photos so people could get the idea what the restaurant was like.
yeah.
So every day I posted one photo each day. You know, some people want to post like 75 photos in one post. I don't do that kind of stuff.
Now I noticed something about good Chinese food. It's very aesthetically attractive to the eyeball. It's pretty.
Yeah.
A lot of colors in there. A lot of,
Colors.
Like red, green, brown.
yeah. It's a very color coordinated food.
Excellent.
I notice.
Looks-
How
Sounds like it
How's-
looks delicious.
it does look delicious, and often it is delicious.
Didn't like those
Get it? It sounds like it looks.
those charbroiled oysters that I posted yesterday. I've been to Felix's. Felix's is a really good oyster house. I mean, it's,
Oyster House.
Cool. That's
They
cool, man.
probably make oysters Rockefeller.
Yeah,
Oh, I
there's
love
so-
those. I love oysters Rockefeller. Those are my favorite way to eat oysters.
Now, Ronald posted a very inviting photo of a stack of huge onion rings. Like
Oh,
real-
yummy.
like a pyramid.
I love
was
onion rings. I've had a weakness for onion rings. I take onion rings over fries.
It was like the leaning tower of onion rings.
Mmm.
And they were big and hopefully
You guys
they
are
were
making me hungry.
oily. Now, and then the soft shell crab photo was really good.
Nice.
Soft shell crab,
That soft shell crab was so good.
so good.
And
Yeah.
the onion rings at UO College Inn, they're famous for their onion rings. Of course, you're gonna pay a fortune. You know, you're gonna pay a fortune.
Onion ring. Got to say it
Oh,
like what's his face? The Cajun cook. Onion ring.
No, Justin, you know
Before I
what?
get off the air, I'll tell you about Justin Wilson. I met him once and I ate his jambalaya, and he made good jambalaya, but he was not even Cajun.
I know that. Yeah.
He was from the part of Louisiana which is English background. He was not French. He was not a Cajun. But when he grew up in that area, he thought it was comical seeing these Cajun people, like they were funny to him, you know, strange.
Oh,
And then he decided he was real into cooking, you know, and wanted to make a cooking
yeah.
show. So he
Say
decided,
Cheerio and Tally Ho or something.
so he decided to make like a character,
Yes.
Cajun man, the Cajun man cook.
And it worked.
Yeah. And he would just like, you know, like mock, like I was apologizing for mocking the Japanese dialect. Well, he did a career mocking the Cajun dialect, but he didn't really denigrate them or anything. But
Well, who came first, Paul Prudhomme or Justin Wilson?
I'm sure Justin Wilson.
But wasn't Paul Prudhomme a better cook than Justin Wilson?
Well, he was he was the actual,
Yes, a real Cajun.
and he was a fine cuisine cook from in New Orleans.
I loved his spices. I buy them.
Yeah. Now
He looked,
Justin Wilson did more like country cooking,
Yeah, I
like
get you.
out at somebody's house out in the country. You know.
like that cracker guy. He calls himself stale cracker on Facebook. He's very
But
country.
Justin Wilson was a genius when it came to cooking. I mean, he did some good. He was good. Now, I used to watch his show. He was no joke, but his act was a joke.
His
but
character was a yeah.
But
Paul Prudhomme looked like Don DeLuise.
Yes, he did, but he wasn't a molester like Deloise was.
Well, DeLuise had too much twinkling in his eyes.
Yeah, he got sued for molesting masseuses and other things while he was living.
I never heard anything like that. But
but it was you mean heterosexual molesting?
I saw Paul.
No.
No.
Nope.
Oh,
I used to think that Don DeLuise had a lot of sugar in his tank, but I didn't know if
He was probably
Yeah.
bisexual, if I had to guess. You know,
I
there's
don't
a
even want
Don
to think about
Jr.
it. I don't want to think about it.
Anybody who has a big Cheshire cat smile and twinkly eyes, beware from them.
All I'll say is this: I went to a restaurant in New Orleans in 1996 one night, and I walked in the front door, and there was Paul Prudhomme sitting at the head of the table. It's a true story. He had a pile of crawfish this high,
Did he eat all of them?
and he was sitting there eating them. And I was like,
Yeah.
I couldn't get over this. I said, this
he
man's
was a-
gonna eat. He's going to eat all these crawfish. He was
He's
so
a big
overweight.
man, real big fat guy.
Couldn't
This
even
is
walk.
why I
Couldn't
can
even
say
walk.
Yeah, he was challenged. He loved food like too much.
he was what's the word? Vertically challenged.
Yeah, he passed away. He was a great chef and a big eater. Let's
He was
just
the
say
one that
that.
popularized black and red fish.
Yes, he really did a lot of great things. His wife passed away unexpectedly before him, I had heard.
I haven't seen the black and dry rub in a long time.
Oh, we still sell it over here.
I see Kate. Does Zatarans have their own black and?
Oh, they might. Yeah, probably so. Yeah.
That's a good company.
Of course, Zatarans got bought out by General Mills.
Of course they did.
Oh man, here we go.
Now people are starting to complain that it's tasting kind of bland.
Yeah, because the core it's part of the corporate
Takeover of the universe.
And there was
Same thing
another
happened.
local company in New Orleans called Progresso Soup Company.
Oh, that sold out years ago.
They got bought out by General Mills, and now everybody says their soup is bland.
You know,
And,
Progressive Soups. They used to be when I was a kid. Used to be near my hometown. It used to be in Rochelle Park, New Jersey. It was family owned, and when they sold out to
General Mills.
corporation, they went to the Midwest, and they left. No more family owned, and lo and behold, they started cutting corners. Too many potatoes and not enough.
Yeah, lots of salt.
Ham. And, you had to push the potatoes aside to find the clams in the clam chowder.
Yep.
Yeah, too much sodium.
I don't eat soup like I used to when I was a kid. I ate soup more often.
Yeah, but when these companies come along, they make you an offer you can't refuse.
Yeah, and then they strip down your recipe and replace it with anything they can that's cheaper.
And
They say everybody has a price, and then they finally offer your price.
Yeah, like Famous Ames cookies used to have nuts in them, but they don't anymore. Entenmann's used to have nuts in the donuts. They'd have this crunch. They don't have them anymore.
Entenmann's cheese, Danish. The ring.
Yeah.
We used to love the ring.
There was a sad news. The ones that made the crinkles in Wisconsin, a famous company, went out of business. They've been around for like 60 years. They make
Crinkles?
that crinkle, the Danish crinkle with the pastry. It's a famous one. It's there in Wisconsin.
Really. I know Famous Fame is from Chicago.
Well, as long as Wayne Jacobs is still family owned over here, I'll be able to get andouille and hogshead cheese from them. Hopefully, they don't get bought out by General Mills or
hopefully not.
ConAgra.
Oh,
A family-owned. I always say a family-owned business could has a firm grip on the reins to make sure that the straight and narrow is being followed. You
Yeah, the
know,
recipe is being honored and guarded.
We got
Yeah.
three big andouille places here in my town, three big ones, and they're all still family owned. Jacobs, Bailey's, and Wayne Jacobs. So get your fresh andouille and your hog's head cheese.
is there anyone that that like would ship like FedEx or UPS or
They all ship it. Yeah, you can order it on their website. Yep.
You're paying
what
arm and a leg to ship it, though. They got to put dry ice in it.
You're right, dry ice, yeah, and styrofoam, and it's got to be packed properly.
Yeah, if you ever come to Louisiana, I'll take you over there and you can try some of it.
I'm sure I'll try some of a lot of things.
I'm sure you'd love it.
There's a place, the Polish place in the Polish neighborhood, Piast, that I used to drive to all the time. They deliver, but you got to order $50 worth of
That's a lot of
their
food for one person.
a
$50
lot of
worth.
kielbasa and yeah, it's
We used to have a truck that went around the neighborhood delivering meat called Cox's Meat Market. And the truck was a store. You could walk up in the back of the truck and buy the meat from the truck.
yeah. Well, in the old days, when
Yeah, the good old days.
my grandmother was young, they had fish market trucks. They had a lot of different food trucks. They used to make their rounds every day up and down certain streets. And
Remember when Charles Chips used to come around in a van and deliver chips, those metal chips to your house?
Charles Chips,
Nice.
Famous Amos is from Chicago, right? The
Yeah, and then he
original
moved to Hawaii, didn't he? I think, and then he sold the company, and then they changed the recipe.
moved to Hawaii.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't say, but all right, Ronald, thank you for stopping by as usual.
Thank you.
Good
And
to
thanks
see you,
for
bro.
You too. And thank you, James and Mr. Mick. And I appreciate you two letting me join.
No problem.
Send me the link for Joker's Wild Wednesday.
Oh yeah, this Wednesday at 7:20 Eastern.
7:20. Okay.
Joker's
Yes.
Wild Wednesday. Yep, I'll send it to you.
All right, gentlemen.
Everyone,
Happy Sunday.
Right. You too. Bye bye.
All right, take care. I'm signing off as well. Bye now.
Goodbye, James.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Yeah,
Make me a pizza, and you got to order your food.
I got to order my food, and I have to decide what I want. It's going to be either Chinese or a large pizza, and I think
I'm making pizza again myself with the bobbly crust.
the bobbly. I always laugh when
I can't even get it.
bobbly. Yeah.
I didn't even get to talk about my pseudo date last night where we went as friends and I paid. Yeah, I find that funny. And the photo was old where she was a different body type. And I liked her from the waist up. The bottom down, didn't match up that well with me. And so I haven't called her.
Yeah. The girl used, you folks out there, do a little red pill man cave talk. The most recent date, internet date, online date that Mick Von Raven had. The girl used a very old photo when she was slim.
Yes.
False advertising. Number one, red flag.
Yes.
2, she established that they were just getting to know one another
as friends,
but she made Mick pay for everything, which include $30 cocktails
and $5 tip. She didn't offer to pay the tip. I didn't ask her. It was
not one penny
for my friend. Yeah.
For my friend, I had the same situation. I was the honky or the gringo, whatever you want to call me.
Yes.
And I got stiffed with everything, the bill, the dinner.
Women feel they're using the power of the pee to do that, the power of the pussy to make the man pay.
They delusionally feel, even though when they're having sex with the right man, they sure sound like they enjoy every second of it.
Yeah, they do.
And they use the power of the pussy, like their vagina is worth so much more than our genitalia.
Well, without the penis, the vajayjay's just an empty hole.
A peg for a hole, for every hole you need a peg. For every peg
You need a hole.
I mean, the peg goes in the hole and then it comes out and it goes back in again.
Yeah, and you make sure you stimulate their clitoris, and everybody's happy.
And
Make sure they come first before you do. That's what you.
But-
That's how you satisfy a woman.
But for a gender that feels they're so much better than us, they sure do a lot of hooting and hollering during intercourse.
Yeah, they do.
They sure do. You know, it's funny how that works. But anyway, we summarized it.
All right, buddy.
And you start with your dinner, and I'll decide what the hell I want.
And let's have a quick chat when you can. I know you need to call an order, but I just want to say hi on the phone to you or something.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you can do that. Well, it's almost 6. No.
Yeah, I always want to make sure you put your order in before I talk to you.
Yeah, let me get my order in, and then we'll have our little powwow.
Yeah, give me a text, and I'll give you a call, or give me a call, whatever's convenient for you, bro.
Yeah, we'll do the powwow. We'll do the.
We'll confer. We'll confer afterwards.
The post progressive discussion powwow. The post progressive powwow.
Sounds good, bro.
Hey, hey.
Hello. All right, look forward to it, bro. Talk to you soon.
All right, bye-bye.
Cheers, bye-bye.